Hi, this is Todd Isaacson, the sales guy, coming to you with another video. Um, Please, if you like the content of this video, if it provides you information that you find helpful, please smash that like button and subscribe. I'd appreciate it. I do have a other video out there and that would give you additional information. A little background on me. I was a VP of sales. I sold to um, larger retail companies, and I sold for 14 years. And I recall 6 years ago, we had some very nice folks come into our office that were really struggling trying to sell product to major big box retailers. And it's really not that hard. It's really not that difficult. So I decided to get information out there to try to help folks, not just selling to big box retailers, but I'm hoping that a lot of this information is also transferable to selling to do other sales, and I think it is. So again, this is Todd, the sales guy, and I'm hoping that you will find this information helpful in your path for sales. I do also consult. I can consult if you're interested in a career in sales. Please reach out to me, or if you're interested in getting a product in with a major retailer, please also reach out to me. I'm happy to help you in those goals. So today we're talking about actually meeting with the customer. And so it may seem obvious, but you want to understand the goal of the meeting when you plan on meeting with the customer. Are you going to be discussing pricing? Are you going to be discussing product? Are you going to be discussing factory capacity? You want to really understand well what is going to be the focus of that goal when you're going to meet. Are you going to be going over a product's sample when you're going to meet? So these are all important questions. As I mentioned in my other video, the main important thing, just please remember, be kind and considerate, and that's really going to take you a long ways in doing your sales. Thank the people for taking the time to meet with them. This is something they will really appreciate, that you are considerate and understand that they take time out of their schedule to meet with you. So make sure that's one of the first things you do when you're going to meet with people. Um, it's really important that you plan on being at the meeting early. Um, I like to be at the meeting at least 15 minutes ahead of time. I like to be like in the parking lot like 1 hour ahead of time if I'm not sure where the building is. And that way, and then I go in about 15 minutes early and introduce myself to the receptionist, and the receptionist will call down the buyer and ask the buyer, or tell the buyer that I'm there in the lobby. Um, to my memory, I've only been late for one meeting that I can recall, and that was in Shanghai. And the driver got lost, and we didn't find the location for quite a while. It was with a industrial distributor, a large industrial distributor from the Midwest, and they had a buying group in Shanghai, and I was late for that meeting. Um, you want to, if you can, you want to send a meeting agenda to the buyer and ask and let them know, okay, these are the things we're going to cover on the meeting. Can you please let me know if I'm missing anything or you'd like to add anything? This is really important because you don't want to have the buyer's thoughts where I thought we were going to go over this and you are preparing information for a whole different thing, and everybody's going to walk away pretty unhappy. And it's better while you have their undivided attention to focus on what they want to meet with you and be prepared properly for that meeting. Um, you want to make sure, if you're going to talk about pricing or product or factory capacity or any questions that you want to go over. I had an occasion where I met with Sears many years ago, and the buyer was very kind, and I had my specifications incorrect. I was selling a very, a large tool chest roller cabinet combination, a 42 inch, and I recall that I gave the wrong. They asked what was the gauge. I think the buyer was meeting with me along with his boss, and they asked what is the gauge of the product, and I gave the incorrect gauge, and I could tell by the look on the buyer's face that it is absolutely incorrect. But he was so kind, he wasn't going to correct me. He didn't correct me there in front of his boss. But later I went back and I checked, and I could tell why he had the look on his face. So you want to try to prepare as well as you can, and make sure that you have your information correct, especially the specifications of the product. It's really a mistake that I shouldn't have made. So you want to make sure that you are prepared as much as you can. If you're going to go over a sample at the meeting, you want to make sure that to be there ahead of time and prepare that sample and make sure everything's functioning right before that meeting. If you can do it, if you have access to that sample before the meeting, it's very, very important. It's also important that you try to assemble everything ahead of time, ahead of schedule, and make sure it's ready for the buyer, and probably going to be at least the assistant buyer, maybe other people. I was meeting with a distributor in Canada, and I knew that I only had so much time in the meeting room that was allowed, and the conference room, and they were going to have another group come in there, and I had to make sure that I could put together the product in a proper amount of time. So I practiced at home in my garage putting together this product. It was NSF wire shelving, and I practiced putting it together quickly in order that I could have it together in time for the meeting. So you want to be prepared for this type of thing, because the buyer is not just going to look at a box, a sample in a box, and you're going to get somewhere with that. So you want to make sure you have time for that. If you're meeting at your factory, you want to plan properly to walk the factory, allow enough time for the buyer and what team he's bringing with them to go over the factory, to go over the machinery, to go over quality control, to answer any questions, to see how much quality control is actually in the factory. And then after the meeting, you want to go hopefully into a meeting room, recap the information on the factory, and have probably a PowerPoint slide prepared so you can send that to the buyer so he can show his management team more information regarding the factory, because the factory information is very important in regards to the making of the product. If you're going to have a meeting for which you have an issue, you want to obviously prepare for addressing that issue at that meeting, whether it's a product issue or pricing issue or what have you. It's going to be obvious. You don't need to send an agenda necessarily. That's probably just going to make the situation worse. You're going to know if you have a product problem or so forth, and just prepare to go over and address that issue and solve it right there while you have the buyer there, the quality control there, everybody there, and everybody can have a consensus on how to address and what they want that product to look like going forward. Don't ask for the meeting unless it's absolutely necessary. The buyers are very busy, and they don't just want to have a meeting to have a meeting. Have a meeting if you're at the early stages and you're not supplying the buyer, and you want to have a meeting to introduce yourself, introduce the factory, introduce the product and company and so forth. Yes, that's one thing. But if you're already maybe supplying the buyer and there's no need for a meeting, everything's set, the orders, you have purchase orders in, you're ready to go, you just need to go ahead and produce the item, there's no real reason to have a meeting, then don't ask for a meeting. When you're having the meeting, it's important that you ask and have conversation with everybody. What are the goals to be achieved during the meeting? So maybe they want to, maybe you think the goal is a certain thing and they feel a goal. You just want to get on the same wavelength there and understand, ask feedback from all parties involved when you're supplying the product to the big box retailer. If there's some improvements to be made, it's better to get that information right then and there when you have all parties there. And then also, this is a good time though, you can ask, how is the product selling? What's the sell-through? How's it selling on promotion? Are you satisfied with the sales? Are you satisfied with the product? Is the return rate pretty good? These are all important aspects that you can go ahead and touch on while you have the meeting, because you're already discussing other items there, and it will help you to stay on top of how your product is doing with the major retailer. So I hope you find this information helpful. As I say, there's another video out there from me that will help you with your career if you're interested in selling to major retailers, big box retailers. I hope this information is helpful for that. And I also, please reach to me if you're interested in a career in this. I do individual consultation. And then I consult also companies that are trying to have their product considered by a major retailer. And I hope also that this information translates to other sales. If you're looking to do other sales, I'm hoping this information will also help you do other sales, and I can help you with that as well. Again, this is Todd Isaacson, the sales guy, and I hope you have a great day. Thank you.